Mountains of ice, just like the Arctic. South Sea Islands. Fabled castles. The Alps have many different faces. Lynxes and ibexes live in the highlands. The king of the air and his favorite prey. The world up here is ice cold and dangerous. Bone-chilling frost. Stunning limestone caves. And magically sparkling lakes. The mist lifts to reveal breathtaking views of enchanting underwater worlds never seen before. In the middle of Europe, a wonderland. A world of bizarre creatures. And their extraordinary stories. The Alps as we know them. Packed full of well-known names, the Matterhorn, the Watzmann, and the White Mountain, Mont Blanc. This Alpine mountain range crosses through Europe in a wide arc for 750 miles. More than 120 of the mountains are over 13,000 feet high. A folded mountain range created by tectonic plates that have been pushing against each other for many millions of years, covered with a layer of snow and ice. Only specialized climbers survive here, always living on the limit. Chamois use the sharp edges of their hooves like climbing irons. They also use them to search for new plant growth, moss and lichen in the cold winters. Once spring comes around, the slightly thawed snow masses easily start to slide. And some climbers' lives end abruptly, frozen in the ice. In a different world, a lesser-known side of the Alps begins underneath the water's surface. Filled with crystal-clear water from the snowmelt, ice will drift on the lake surfaces like icebergs in Greenland until early summer. Water temperatures are as low as a refrigerator. But nevertheless, very soon these lakes will be the nursing grounds for many different creatures. Inhabited by animals that no one would expect to find at 7,500 feet. Once the ice starts to melt in the springtime sun, mysterious alpinists will awaken. Common toads are starting their mating rituals. The females carry their male partners around with them on their backs. She will wander far and wide to find a gap in the ice surface of the lake. Alpine newts are also drawn to the water. The newts and the toads have spent the coldest time of the year in hibernation. They've been hidden away for months, dug deep into the earth or holes in the rocks, where they were protected from the frost. Now spring fever has taken hold of them, and they will become aquatic animals for a few months. with a large fringe on their tail. The males in their mating dress. A water louse quickly becomes the first meal of the year. This newt eats alone. Others fiercely fight for a worm. All around, melting snow fills the streams, and bizarre creatures appear. These adult brook lampreys have spent the first 3 to 4 years of their lives hidden away in the sand as larvae. The brook lampreys have not only developed internal sexual organs, but also 7 gill openings on each side of their bodies, in addition to an eye and a nostril opening, which makes them look like they have 9 eyes. They do not need food now, but they busily carry rocks through the stream. They're building spawning grounds in which they will lay their eggs. During mating, the males will suck tight onto the females and wriggle around their bodies. Sometimes up to 20 animals attach themselves to each other in a long line during mating. After that, they die, right at the beginning of spring. The snow has already melted in the valley, but the trees still have no leaves. Some streams seem to bubble with fish. Vimber bream are migrating upstream in great numbers in order to spawn. Some fish species are especially skillful at navigating barriers, and some are even able to climb up steps. The Danube bleak, for example. These 8-inch-long fishes migrate upstream through very fast-flowing streams during the month of May, densely packed side by side. They were heavily fished in earlier times, so it's rare to see such large schools. The bleak have very specific spawning grounds where they will meet. Every female will lay 10 to 15,000 eggs. Their eggs are very sticky and will stay put between the rocks even in this strong current, to be fertilized by the male's sperm. Soon the stream is covered with eggs. They drift towards the latecomers that still have to spawn. It looks like a wild snowstorm. They will all die from exhaustion shortly after spawning, covering the next generation of Danube bleaks. Almost 8,000 feet high at the Matterhorn, the idyllic Stelle Lake. Algae are already proliferating. The aquatic plants offer a place for the common toads to reproduce. Salientia prefer to spawn in water that is at least 1.5 feet deep. Tightly clinging on to each other, they like to attach their eggs to solid structures. Their egg strings are several feet long and are twisted around algae, branches, twigs and reeds like Christmas lights. The Alpine newts do it a bit differently, if only a few feet away. Their mating rituals also take place in shallower waters. With its tail, the male fans an alluring scent towards the female that smells of parsley. Quite differently from their neighbours, though, the newts do not cling to each other during mating. They barely touch. If anything, the female may nudge the male in his side with her head. It is his signal to release his spermatophores. She then receives the jelly-like mixture full of sperm and takes off right after. Several days later, she will lay up to 300 eggs. With her hind legs, she rolls ice cream cone-like structures made out of leaves, in which she lays one egg each. The little newt larvae, that already look similar to their parents, will develop inside these cones. The larvae of the common toad, on the other hand, look quite different from their parents at the beginning. Depending on the temperature in the mountains, it can be between 2 and 4 weeks until the tadpoles hatch by the thousand. It will be several months before they look like a common toad. Spring is arriving. Cowbells, bird's eye primrose and other spring bloomers bring colour to the mountains. An ibex uses the last snow to sled. During this time of the year, the bucks come together in all-male groups. The short-tailed weasel, still in its white winter coat, watches them during their friendly tussles. After half a year of hibernation, the marmots are also starting to wake up. They are hungry because they have lost a third of their body weight. They are leaving their dens during the day now, but they always have to be alert, because they're the favorite meal of the eagles. A golden eagle will feed on 70 marmots during the breeding season. Mont Blanc is the highest mountain of the Alps, 15,781 feet high. The city of Annecy is located at the foot of Mont Blanc. Because of its many canals, it's also called the Venice of the Alps. Nearly 12.5 miles southwards, the Lac du Bourget bears a dark secret in its depths. On their way down, the divers come across a seething mass. In a crack between the rocks, a large school of barbels have taken cover here. The divers have startled them. It's the end of their winter hibernation. Barbels can grow up to 3 feet long. During the colder period of the year, they gather in large groups in quiet areas. These pictures are extremely rare, and this behavior has never been filmed before. Further down, at around 350 feet, a wreck from World War II. On March the 30th, 1943, the German reconnaissance aircraft Fokker-Wulf flew too close to the water's surface during a training flight and crashed. 2 pilots drowned in the freezing lake, and 2 others were rescued by French fishermen. It took 50 years until the aircraft was found at the bottom of the Lac du Bourget. burbots have made a home in the wreck. They are predators, and they can grow to more than 3 feet in length. They live at the bottom of deep lakes, hidden away. And an old Nazi wreck is the perfect place for them. Countless small streams gurgle down into the Alpine valleys from the high mountain peaks and fill up small lakes nestled deep inside enchanted forests. Some of the lakes are full of trees that couldn't carry the weight of the snow during winter and cracked off into the lake. It takes a longer time for the tree stumps to decay in the cold water. Covered with algae. They provide a mysterious underwater landscape. Perfect for this bizarre time traveler. The sterlet is part of the sturgeon family. They are primeval fishes that have barely changed in the last 200 million years. Sterlets can grow up to 3 feet in length, and they live in flowing bodies of water, but also in more quiet lakes, such as this one. Here they can search for worms, snails, crabs, and small fishes between the branches and the lake bottom. Several small creeks come together and form noisily bubbling, swelling rivulets. Rapids provide the headwater with lots of oxygen, where river trout and graylings brave the raging stream. In order to save energy, the fishes like to gather behind roots and rocks where the current is not as strong. This is also where the Danube salmon have made their home. They are predators that can weigh up to 70 pounds, and they lurk in deep troughs in the shallower water to hunt for prey. Fast-flowing alpine brooks are also the preferred hunting grounds for this very special bird, the dipper. It catches insects like fleas and their larvae by plunging into the fast-flowing brook. The dipper is the only songbird that can also swim and dive, up to 30 seconds long. The bird uses its wings to swim and also clings to the bottom with its claws. Within seconds, its feathers are dry and the bird is ready to fly again. A special preen gland makes their dense plumage waterproof. It's the breeding season. The dipper builds a nest made of moss and small sticks close to the water's edge, to bridges or walls along the brook. The young are fed for 3 weeks by their parents until they themselves plunge into the water to search for food. The fairy tale castle of Neuschwanstein, built by the Bavarian king Ludwig II, from a bird's eye view. The king of the air has an eyrie nearby. Protected by a large rock face, the mother feeds her small hatchling, still dressed in its fluffy white down. She pulls bite-sized pieces off the prey to gently feed to her hatchling. During the first few weeks, the male almost solely supplies them with food. After a month, once the hatchling has grown regular feathers, it will stay alone for most of the day, because the mother will then also start providing food. Lake Alp, close to Neuschwanstein. It's known to be one of the cleanest lakes in Germany. A father is taking care of his offspring hidden between tree stumps. The pike perch spawns in the spring in shallow areas. This aggressive predator watches over its nest and attacks anybody that comes too close. The eggs would be a welcome change from the normal menu of the sterlet. And the hungry barbels are known nest robbers. The pike perch is kept busy. The female has left it to the male to protect their eggs. She has already done more than enough. A female pike perch will lay more than 100,000 eggs. The juveniles will hatch after 8 to 12 days. Until then, the male has to fan fresh water onto the eggs. On a rock ledge above Neuschwanstein, the eagle chick has grown quite a bit. Both parents are doing a great job taking care of the little guy. They bring in food constantly. Eagles are also able to prey on chamois fawns and carry them up to the nest. Only a few minutes by air. The mysterious Alat Lake is said to be a blood lake. From the outside, the Alat Lake looks like many other lakes in the Alps. But at a depth of 45 feet, that dramatically changes. This is where the blood cloud begins. Red and violet clouds drift through the water. From this point on, the water has almost no oxygen in it. These clouds consist of purple sulfur bacteria. They live off the toxic hydrogen sulfide that the water here contains in high concentrations. For thousands of years, the sulfur-rich, toxic water has stayed at the bottom of the lake without mixing with the upper water column. At times, the bacteria grow to create a dense blanket. Nevertheless, there are always fishes that dare to go into the toxic zone. But most of them will perish there. The Alat Lake is unique amongst all alpine lakes. The idyllic Tyrolean Double is only about 20 miles away as the crow flies. The Fernstein Lake, with its hilly island and scenic shoreline. And only 600 feet further, the smaller Samaranga Lake. It is known for its crystal clear water and underground springs. Because of the extreme visibility of the lake, up to 150 feet, it's a popular spot for scuba divers. It's so clear that it's said you can see from one shoreline to the next at times. A tranquil turquoise cosmos. This little lake is only 55 feet deep, but it has something unfathomable about it. A cross in the midst of old tree stumps. It's a reminder of a fatal scuba diving accident in the 1970s. In order to keep its mystical atmosphere, no more than 4 divers are allowed to dive in the Samaranga Lake at one time. They're urged not to kick up too much sediment because it could choke the aquatic plants. The water is very cold, never warmer than 45 degrees Fahrenheit, even during the summer months. So it would take years for the plants to grow back. Brook trout prefer to live in the open water. These pretty fishes originally came from North America and were released here and in many other alpine lakes, where they have been steadily reproducing. Despite the fact that this brook trout is currently more interested in a fling of a different kind. The grayling, with its flag-like back fin, does not chase away this little flirt. Forbidden love in an alpine lake. At the Watzmann in the Berchtesgaden Alps, there are traces of a surprising past. Springtime on an Alp. Cows spend this time of the year grazing on these hilltop pastures. Traditionally, the cows wear a large cowbell around their necks so that they can be more easily found should they get lost. This is an old tradition in the Alps. It's also traditional to decorate the front of alpine homes with fossilized cattle footprint shells as good luck charms. The fossils found here in the mountains are from an ancient ocean. On the slopes of the Watzmann, deep inside Lake König, there are even more fossils. St. Bartholomä on the western shore of Lake König on the Hirschau Peninsula. The chapel was named in honor of the patron saint of alpine farmers and fishermen. Fishing was only allowed after his saint's day on August the 24th. That's also when the spawning period is over. It's April, and the Arctic char are late in starting their mating rituals near the shore. The males are trying to impress the females with their beautiful mating colors. It's only during the mating season that their stomachs glow bright red. Their signal also attracts uninvited guests. The burbot will not pass up an opportunity this easy. While the 2 males are competing for the female's attention, they only have eyes for each other. The chars totally ignore the predator. Well camouflaged, the burbot carefully sneaks up on the chars while they are mating. And this is the moment the burbot has been waiting for. Fresh eggs, a perfect meal for the predator. He is a nest robber and often sucks out the eggs of other fish from between the coarse gravel. Further down in Lake König, there are even more of those good luck charms. A rock wall full of fossilized cattle footprints, Megalodontoidea. These prehistoric shellfish lived here over 100 million years ago in a shallow, temperate ocean. The Alps were folded up into a mountain range much later, but some of these fossilized shells ended up deep inside the lake, while others were pushed up high. What was once the ocean floor is now the Alps. The same happened in the Dolomites. the southern limestone Alps. Devil's Claw blooms here during the summertime. Potentilla nitida, knapweed, and the Turk's cap lily. They all thrive in the limestone-rich soil of the Dolomites that mostly stems from prehistoric reefs, where corals once grew in the ocean. Marmots romp around today. They feed on 3 pounds of grass and herbs every day in order to gain enough weight for their winter hibernation. They gain nearly 1 ounce per day. But all of a sudden, the peace and quiet is over. An unfamiliar marmot has wandered into the territory of this family unit. The unit consists of about 20 rodents, and they defend their family against all intruders. Early practice makes perfect. Juvenile marmots often tussle with each other. Through play, they learn how to defend their position within the hierarchy of the family unit. As quickly as it started, it's over, and everybody goes back to feeding. Gaining enough weight is important right now because October is not far away, and that's when their hibernation starts all over again. In the Dolomites, close to the Latomar, lies Lake Kara. Legend has it that a beautiful mermaid once lived here. A sorcerer threw jewels for her into the lake. Green gelatinous balls glow underwater. These are not aquatic plants, but a collection of ciliates. The single-cell organisms are barely 1/50th of an inch long, but they travel together in a gelatinous mass and feed on tiny green algae that give them energy and the green coloration. Nighttime in the Dolomites. A peculiar light show has started above the Dreizinnen peaks. Summer lightning and the sparkle of the stars in the firmament are much more spectacular in the Alps than in the lowlands, where artificial light from the cities lights up the sky. Early morning at the Weissen Lake in Enchanting. The beautiful sunshine has come to an abrupt end. The weather in the Alps can change in no time. If the wind slightly changes, the air gets pushed up alongside the mountains and cools down. And the result is often heavy thunderstorms. Rain showers are usually short. And it all begins anew. Part of the rain rises up towards the sky as fog. The Aesculapian snake loves such humid and warm regions. The snake often sits in trees where it scavenges birds' eggs from their nests. It can grow up to 5 feet, and it's a great climber because of the coarse scales on the sides of its body. Other snakes live here too, which hunt mice. A white band surrounds the Weissen Lake, which gives it its name. For eons, the rain has washed out chalk particles from the limy mountains surrounding the lake, which now give it its white rim. Chub live in this area, barely 15 inches long and related to the carp. They already spawned in the spring. The perch, on the other hand, are still in the midst of reproduction. They avoid the open water and stay hidden between tree stumps, where the pike won't easily find them. This is also where the females have their nests. Of course, there are always thieves attracted by the nutritious eggs. The North American crayfish has intruded the European water bodies and has flourished there, but has in turn pushed out the native crayfish population. No chance against this mother, she defends her eggs, which consist of egg tubes that can contain up to 300,000 eggs. It will take 8 to 10 days until the juvenile perch hatch. Back to the glacial heights of the Alps, the enchanted wonderland of the glaciers. There are still about 5,000 glaciers in the Alps. Climate change is causing the ice to melt. The glacier is only half of what it was in 1850. Should this trend continue, 3/4 of all alpine glaciers will have melted away by 2050, and the results will be catastrophic. Glaciers contain large amounts of water, and when the ice melts and becomes liquid, the water will flow down from the peaks through cracks into the rocks. The ice masses in many caves, such as the Dachsteinhöhle, are continuously increasing. The ice structures are very beautiful, but the ice is also the glue that holds the rock of the peaks together. As a result, the mountains will start to break apart and slide down. The Triglav is the highest peak in the Alpine foothills of Slovenia. Many rivers flow towards the Adriatic from here. But some world travelers are moving in the opposite direction, up towards the mountains. Eels migrate from the Atlantic through the Mediterranean and now deep into the mountains of Slovenia. They have hatched off the coast of the Americas. Rainwater and rivers have cut deep craters into the karst landscape, but not just mechanical forces are at work here. Sinkholes, and majestic caves, such as this one here in Skokjan, are a result of carbon dioxide-rich water that trickled through the limestone and dissolved it. As a result, spectacular and bizarre structures developed inside the grottos over many thousands of years. Nature's works of art. Many of Slovenia's mountain streams flow underground over large distances and through many of these caves. They are only a transit route for the eels. On their way into the mountains, they swim through these dark streams for many days until they get high enough up and reach daylight again. The smallest movements loosen sediment from the roof of the caves and create deposits of dust. There are creatures in these caves that have never seen the sun. Colorless cave dwellers, and a creature that was once mistaken for dragon offspring in times gone by. With only 3 fingers on each hand and very slow movements, it looks more like an alien creature from another world. It was also called the human fish because of its human-like skin color. The olm, also called the Proteus, is only 12 inches long and a distant relation of the newt. Its external gills are reminiscent of newt larvae, but the olm keeps them its entire life. A Proteus can live up to 100 years. In a world without light, their eyes have shrunk to small dots. Red blood vessels and bowels are visible through the pale skin. The olm lives off small crabs and can easily survive without a bite to eat for years. It has a great sense of smell and it can feel movement in the water. That's how it orientates itself in its eternally dark environment. That's also how the mating partners find each other. Just like their distant cousins, the newts, the female receives the spermatophores from the male. It will take 4 months for the fertilized eggs to grow inside the female. Depending on the water temperature, she will lay eggs or give birth to live young. Very pale and photophobic. The Proteus is one of the most unusual animals in Europe and is very well equipped for a life in total darkness in the karst caves of Slovenia. On top of many alpine passes, one can find such Stornermandeln, which means stone men. Some are over 500 years old. Did herders build them to kill time or to help people find their way? The debris fields are a great environment for the poisonous asp viper, which can live up to almost 10,000 feet high in the mountains. At times, the snakes mate in late summer. The female will store the sperm and give birth to her live young the following spring. They're up to 3 feet long, and it makes this even more tricky. Several males have a strong interest in this female. One finally gets to mate with her. But which one? Autumn is arriving at the Triglav in the Slovenian Alps. Together with their young, the chamois are heading downhill towards their summer territory. This is the Socha, considered one of the most beautiful alpine rivers. Its white water has dug deep canyons into the rocks. These underwater valleys were once filled with one of the largest species of trout. But during World War I, hungry soldiers fished in the Socha with dynamite and decimated the species. North American rainbow trout were released as a substitute. They are now populating the Socha. There are only a few places where marmorata trout still live. They can grow to almost 4 feet and weigh 45 pounds. They are still threatened today because of the competition with the rainbow trout. Autumn ends. And winter moves in quickly. The first snow. The mating season of the ibexes is starting soon here at the Triglav. The males still live separately from the females, together in bachelor groups. They have time to work on growing their winter fat. They need a very warm layer once the bone-chilling cold descends. Starting in early December, they will begin their energy-sapping fights for their harems. The peak of the Triglav will be covered with a dense blanket of snow by then. The course of the Socha has already changed to look like an enchanted ice-scape. A special wayfarer is stalking through the snow. The lynx's large furry paws keep the animal from sinking into the snow. With the little tufts on its ears that stick up like antennae, the lynx is able to locate distant prey. The lynx also has luminescent reflective eyes. The common buzzard only gave the shy lynx a little scare. The lynx population in Slovenia had already become extinct, but in 1972 3 couples were released with great success, because now the largest population of lynxes in the entire Alpine region lives here. Their offspring have even been found in Italy and Austria. As long as the lynxes are no longer hunted, they have a good chance of making a permanent home along the headwater region of the Socha. The rare Marmorata trout, on the other hand, are not so lucky. As well as the rainbow trout, another species has also been released into the Socha and has made a permanent home here, competing with the Marmorata. River trout are a bit smaller than Marmoratas, but they are very closely related. As a result, they often crossbreed with each other. Today, many foreign trout live in the Socha, but maybe they will be equally as successful as the lynxes, and the most beautiful river in the Alps will be repopulated with cultured Marmorata trout. Winter soon has the Alps in its grip. The days are shorter and colder now. Morning fog sticks to the surface of the Weissen Lake like cotton wool. For at least 80 days of the year, the air temperature at the Weissen Lake is below 0, so the surface of the lake is frozen solid between December and March. Below the surface, on the other hand, it's pretty warm. The ice acts as insulation, and the water at the bottom of the lake will never drop below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The ice is at least 2 feet thick, and therefore very loadable, so that it will even carry a large snowplow with the ice master, who prepares the surface of the ice every morning. Shortly after, the first skaters are scraping across the frozen lake. The Weissen Lake is popular with ice skaters because it's the largest natural ice surface in Europe. At times, the fishes wake up from their hibernation. During the cold time of the year, carp and trout slow down their heartbeats and breathing frequency, and their metabolism is very limited. They rest at the bottom of the lake. This is also where the prehistoric sterlet tries to spend the cold time of the year. It has also stopped feeding. And and its bodily functions are reduced. Not even a sliding gravel avalanche will fluster the sterlet. Not everybody is calm and quiet down here. The Berberts start mating during the wintertime and come together under the ice during the night for a mass mating. They curl together into ball-like structures. Every fish tries to get into the middle of the fray to spawn. Above the surface, there's no hint of all this. Because for most of the time, the dark and deep alpine lakes keep their mysteries well hidden.